What is up, guys? Week 4 of flight school starts today. It is a Monday and it is a cold one out. This will be the coldest weather I have flown in yet. It is 41 degrees Fahrenheit and the winds are gusting between 10 to 12 knots, which is also the most wind I have flown in yet. Today we start a new phase of training where I am preparing for my first ever solo flight, which to even consider that that's a near future option is just wild to think. It feels like I just started flight school. On the menu is practicing new maneuvers. I'm gonna learn how to do slow flight. I'm gonna learn how to do steep turns, power off, and power on stalls. Before I get out to the plane, I'm gonna finish my weight and balance sheet, then go pre-flight the plane, and then start flying. That was a great flight. Learn how to slow flight, do steep turns, power on stall, power off stall. And on top of that, I flew with what are called foggles, view limiting devices. This is what they look like, kind of goofy. Up in this shaded area, it's supposed to mimic what it would be like flying through a cloud. Where down here, where it's clear, is where I can see all the instruments. And I have to focus on that and fly off of those indications. So that was cool. I was not expecting to start doing that, but apparently it was on the list of things to do before solo prep. It was gusty out there. I'm not gonna lie, I did get motion sickness again. Not bad. It was just towards the end when we were doing, we also practiced emergency descents. So that's when I felt it, like my stomach, I don't know, it must have been because it also got kind of hot in the plane and I'm wearing a lot of layers right now because it's cold outside. So I think that might have been the case of why I got sick. But it didn't last that long. It lasted for like maybe 10 minutes and then it went away. As we flew back to our home airport, the winds were gusting 15 to 20 knots. That's the most gusts I've landed in. The landing was, it might have been my best landing yet. No joke. Even my instructor, when I landed, he's like, ooh, you barely felt that touch down. It was just so soft. I landed with the correct wheel first. I forget, downwind wheel or upwind wheel? Upwind wheel first. And then the second one followed suit. And then the front wheel softly landed as well. So super happy with the landing. It was a good day. I just hope that I don't get motion sickness again because it's really not fun at all. Like it's the worst up there. It's like you're being tortured and you cannot escape that torture. Thankfully it happened towards the end of the training flight. I'm gonna go home, start studying, probably study for about 4 to 5 hours today, and that'll wrap up the night. Flight got canceled due to rain. Was supposed to have a morning flight at 8 a.m. It is pouring outside. We're not gonna dwell on the negative and we're gonna turn it into a positive. Today, I'm going to just dive into some more studying, do what is called chair flying, where you sit in a chair. You can either be looking at a poster that mimics what your aircraft is on the inside, or in my case, because I don't have a poster, you just stare at a blank wall and visualize the inside of the aircraft. While you're doing that, you're going through all the new maneuvers that I just learned yesterday. The flow is what they call it. So what buttons I'm pressing, what like RPM or airspeed I'm trying to hit, what I'm also verbally saying as I'm doing these flows or maneuvers. So I'm going to make a cup of joe, get caffeinated, spend probably the first 2 hours in the books. And then, like I said, half hour to an hour of chair flying, just kind of bounce back and forth between those two things. So I'm fully prepared for tomorrow's flight. It is 7:30 in the morning, 29 degrees outside. We are about to have a morning flight. We take off at 8:30. Sun is up, sky is clear. No winds today. It should be a great flight. Not gonna lie, I'm feeling a bit under the weather today. Nothing serious, just a slight head cold. I didn't take any medicine last night or this morning. The FAA has a list of items that you can take and cannot take. I just wanted to play it safe and just not take anything, hoping it's nothing serious, that it just kind of goes away throughout the day. I just feel kind of tired. I didn't sleep that well last night, kind of stuffed up. It's probably just the weather change, honestly, and my body's adapting to that. Anyways, let's go into the school, finish our weight and balance calculations for this airplane that we're about to fly, and get into the sky. That was a great day of flying, boys. That was a really good day of flying. That flight started out not on the best note. As you saw, there was ice that was covering all of the airplane, so we had to get the de-icer spray out, and it took like 15 to 20 minutes for it to get rid of all the ice. Our aircrafts are not able to be flown with ice on them. It's very dangerous. You lose the ability to create lift on your wings, which basically is how you keep the aircraft flying in the air, in simple terms. Once the ice was gone, great flying around. There was no wind. Takeoff was really smooth. Did a bunch of maneuvers again, like the last flight. I'm getting better at them. I think that the chair flying that I did yesterday really helped with being able to speak and just go through my mind of all the checklists and the procedures that you have to do for each maneuver. Instead of me having to like grab my piece of paper and read it and then set that down and then start the procedure. A lot of them, I'd say like about 80% of them, I was able to just kind of like rote memory say, oh, I got to do this and this and this to get into like a steep turn, or I got to do this to get into slow flight. So yeah, we did steep turns, slow flight. My first emergency landing, we didn't actually land like in a field or anything. It was just a scenario where you get fully set up as if you lost your engine, and you go through all the checklists on what you got to do, pick the best field that you think is going to be a good spot to land, just follow that procedure. After emergency landings, we did foggles, those glasses I showed you, where you can only see out of the bottom of them to look at the flight deck, all the flight instruments. Did that for a little bit. He put us in unusual attitudes. So the first one, I was like pointing straight up in the air. All you can see is the sky, and then you got to recover from that, get your wings level, and get to a cruise speed. And then the next one, he did the opposite, where I was pointing straight down at the ground, and that's all you see, and your aircraft is getting faster and faster and faster. You got to slow it down, get your wings level, and then cruise out. The last thing we did was power off stalls and power on stalls. And that's where your airplane is basically an angle, critical angle of attack is what it's called, where you're losing lift and your airplane basically starts to fall out of the sky from lack of lift. And then you got to recover a certain, like, the way you recover is kind of different, but also similar for all of the stalls that you practice. But you just got to know what to do and then get to your cruise speed, cruise altitude right after that. So for the most part, pretty good day. Getting better at the maneuvers. Tomorrow it's going to be the same thing, just more maneuvers, and I believe I have a sim tomorrow where I'm also practicing maneuvers. So just going to keep getting better at that, dialing it more in. The more often I'm able to fly, if the weather cooperates with us this week, which I don't know, it says it's supposed to snow tomorrow, so we'll see. If the weather works out to where I can fly every day this week, then I will just keep progressing at this rate, and I'll be ready for my solo prep eval. I guarantee it. So now I'm gonna go home, gonna stick my nose in the books and study for about 5 to 6 hours, and that'll wrap up the day for me. Right as we got up into the air, we realized that there was this layer of fog covering the ground. which was not ideal for what today's flight was supposed to be. Today was supposed to be all about ground references and the maneuvers that you do when looking at a specific point on the ground, or if you're gonna do what's called an S-turn. It's where you've got a road that is your straight line, and then you fly across the road, do a turn, come back over it, and just kind of like keep doing that. And there was another ground maneuver we were supposed to do. I don't remember what it was called. But anyways, obviously for ground maneuvers, you need to be able to see the ground. So because of the fog, we had to divert. All we did today was just traffic pattern work. We flew to a non-towered airport. I just stayed in the traffic pattern by the airport, did 10 landings today, 0 go-arounds, which is the first time that's happened for me. 9 out of 10 of those landings were like beautiful landings. Really soft touchdown on the back wheels, and the front wheel just barely touches down while I'm holding that back pressure, keeping all of the weight off the front wheel as long as I can. The 1 out of 10 landing wasn't even bad. It was just a little more of a firm landing. I still made the runway, still hit center line, and we would have, I mean, we were safe. We made it there. Like, it wasn't a bad landing. It just wasn't as good as the other ones. So I'm very happy with that. Still getting better at my landings, improving on them. I know it's gonna come in waves, and I'll probably go through a phase of where I'm not good at landing again. My instructor joked about it. He's like, just appreciate it while it's happening. He's like, this is really good, good job, you're improving, but just know that it comes and goes. Like, it's a touch thing, and sometimes you just lose it and it gets frustrating, but you just gotta look back on a day like today where you were landing really good, which it makes total sense, because we're humans, we're not robots. We make mistakes and we just learn from them. That flight in the air was great, and then right after we had a sim, and that was like the complete opposite of great. For some reason, going from the aircraft to the simulator, everything feels not like extremely different. It's not the same feeling. The throttle inputs, the inputs with your elevator, turning, the resistance on your rudders, it's just all different. And on top of that, you're not feeling the movement or the G-force that you do when you're up in the air flying. So that kind of messes with your head as well. Unless you're like looking at the screens out in front of you, not just focused on the flight deck instruments, you can't feel with your body when you're turning too much, or if your nose is diving, unless like you look up and see, oh crap, I'm not in level flight, I'm not coordinated, I'm not flying correctly. So that was a challenging 2 hours in the sim. Still learned some things, still got better at my technique, realized that I really need to do some studying on the G1000 avionics in the airplane, because there's so much going on. It's really hard to learn all the buttons that they have, how to get to specific things on the map, how to navigate properly. There's just a lot going on, and it's hard to grasp everything while also learning how to fly. So I'm probably gonna watch a bunch of YouTube videos about the G1000, just get more information on that, so I'm more prepared for the next flight, which is hopefully tomorrow. It's supposed to snow tomorrow. I really hope it doesn't. If it does, then I'll probably have a ground class, or he might just wait till the next day to fly us. So for now, I'm going to hit the books, read more of the PHAK, which is the Pilot's Handbook of Aeronautical Knowledge. Some call it the Bible of flight school. I finished the Airplane Flying Handbook last week. Took me 8 days to read it. Very happy with that. I retained maybe 5% of the information, so I'll definitely be reading it multiple times. But yeah, I'm on, I think, chapter 10 of the PHAK. I started it this week. Today's Thursday. So maybe I could get it finished by Sunday. I think there's 18 chapters in the book. That's the goal. Again, I'm not reading to memorize. I'm reading to just not skim over, but just to already looked at the material, So when I come back to it, it's more familiar. And then the second and third time and fourth and fifth and sixth time I read it, I'll be able to memorize some things and just retain that knowledge. That's the goal. Hopefully it works. Unfortunately, due to bad weather, I was unable to fly for the rest of the week. If you want to see how I did on my first ever flight evaluation, click on this video on the screen. I appreciate you watching. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below. I'll see you next week.